Hi guys, how are you doing today? Hope you are having a sunny day. Ready for some new drama from Askalawyer? Let's go to the first one, about OP's stepbrother, who proposed to OP's ex in front of OP. Listen to the story, guys, to find out what OP did after seeing that, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My, female 28, ex-fiance and I, male 26, separated upon discovering she was being unfaithful. I wasn't too surprised, but was indeed an idiot because there was a whole lot of red flags. But I used to think like those fools who think that someone can change after marriage. No hard feelings though. I canceled the engagement and I've been living stress-free, heartache-free for over 2 years now. I later discovered my stepbrother, Jake, 3 years younger than me, has been seeing her for months. I wasn't surprised. He's not a smart guy with many potentials, but every pot has a cover, and they're almost perfect for each other. He started bringing her over. I only visit to see my sick dad. To be honest, I get annoyed when I see her in the house, but it's not my house, so I can't decide who should be allowed. My stepmom is clearly excited for the two lovebirds, and always loved to have my ex-fiancé as a daughter-to-be. To be fair, I've made some backhanded comments towards her on several occasions, but my stepmom and Jake put me in my place and told me to respect his girlfriend, so I stopped. Sunday night I was invited by my stepmom for dinner. Jake's girlfriend was there as well. I was surprised to see my step-aunts there too, but I kept a straight face while they were all buzzing loudly. Then suddenly Jake got up and got on one knee and showed his girlfriend a ring and proposed to her. I wanted to go to the bathroom, but my stepmom said I needed to wait, it's important. I said, what's more important than nature's call? She gave me a look and I was forced to sit back down and watch. Jake proposed, and she got all dramatic and even cried when saying yes. I couldn't help but go back and remember what happened in the past, but I shrugged it off and told Jake, careful man, someone else already got stung by this bee. The room got awkwardly silent, and everybody looked at me. Jake was very pissed, and so was his mom. Jake's fiance looked at me grudgingly and asked, "Are you calling me unfaithful?" I said, "Well, if the shoe fits." She took her things and walked to the bathroom. Jake followed her, and my stepmom blew up because of the comment I made, saying I just ruined her son's proposal with my pettiness and lack of respect for everyone in the room. I was told to leave before Jake and his fiancée get back, but I argued that it's my dad's house too, and it's the reason why I visit. My step-aunt asked me to leave, and we'll talk later about what I did, but I said there's nothing to talk about. I left right then. My stepmom hasn't stopped berating me for what I did there, and says I owe Jake an apology for pulling this on his proposal. So, on the one hand, that was a simply terrible thing to say during someone else's proposal. There was no call to say anything at all. Keeping your mouth shut instead of saying congratulations would have worked just fine. On the other hand, why the heck would OP's stepbrother propose in front of OP, of all people, in the first place? How was he expecting OP to react? Plus, OP did try to remove himself from the situation, and OP's stepmom stopped him. Honestly, sounds like OP's ex and his stepbrother deserve each other. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. Danielle, 23, says, I'm going to go with the unpopular, not the a-hole. Your stepbrother is dating your ex-fiancé. I'm not sure how else they expect you to respond. Plus, I would have been trying so hard not to laugh if I was there. Nevertheless, I dissent says, not the a-hole. Why the duck did they think forcing you to watch your stepbrother propose to your ex-fiancé was a good idea? The relationship ended by cheating, and instead of her moving along, she started dating your stepbrother. Peanut Buttercups 56 says, everyone sucks here. Oh, you have hard feelings for sure. It's okay to be upset, but don't pretend that you're not. You didn't need to say anything after the proposal. If your stepbrother doesn't know about the cheating, you can tell him at a more appropriate time. If your family knows about the cheating, they suck for not listening to you. Even if they don't know about the cheating, they know that you dated her before, and it's weird to force you to watch the proposal. Edit for clarity. OP is not an a-hole for being upset that he was cheated on. OP is right to be upset and never has to get over it. I just meant that it's okay to be hurt by it. He shouldn't lie to himself about how he feels. I don't think OP is jealous, just upset about being mistreated by his ex and family. It just wasn't the right time to say something. If OP wants to warn stepbrother, who doesn't even seem to care about OP's feelings, there are better times to do that. OP is the one being wronged, and he got irritated and said something at the wrong time. 10 years ago, my parents passed away within 6 months of each other. I was 33 male at the time, and my little sister, Sarah, was 23 female. Losing our parents at such a young age has been rough for both of us, but probably more consequential for Sarah being such a young adult. Upon their passing, we inherited their home, a paid-off beach house on the Central Oregon coast. I plead with Sarah to keep it with me as a joint asset, vacation home. Honestly, a lot of my motive was looking out for her and the fear of giving a 23 female her one and only inheritance in one fell swoop that she could conceivably blow through and have nothing to show for in a year's time, especially as she was grieving and in her natural party phase of life. I wasn't rich by any means, but was modestly comfortable with a steady job, an employed wife, we're both nurses, and we purchased a townhome together a couple years prior. I saw the house as an appreciating asset and opportunity to generate a modest monthly income that we both could use. Plus, who doesn't want a beach house in the family? We both lived in Portland, 3.5-hour commute from the property. I saw it as an easy way to generate some steady income, but she wanted to cash out and move to California. Despite my pleas, I had no authority to stop her. The house appraised at $260,000, and my wife and I made a decision to buy her out, thus taking on a $130,000 mortgage. She got her check and did the things I feared she would. Started with purchasing a new $40,000 SUV, YOLO'd to LA, and leased a swanky apartment with her friend. I didn't hear much from her for the next couple years as she partied it up and blew through the remainder of her money, then moved to Vegas for a while, finally coming back to Portland 2 years ago with nothing to show for herself. As for me, keeping the house has been a struggle. It cost us countless expenses, bad luck with lousy tenants. In hindsight, we couldn't really afford the mortgage, and I look at it now as a decade wasted and unnecessary struggle. The good news is the house is probably worth $420,000 now. We have 3 kids, 4-year-old girl and twins born last year. Our townhome is crowded to say the least, so we're looking to cash out the beach house and sell our home to buy a house to fit our growing family. I mentioned my intentions to Sarah, who freaked out, saying I can't, and that home is all we have left of our family, which is ludicrous. We didn't grow up there. Our parents bought that house 4 years before they died with settlement money. I never lived in it, and Sarah only did for less than a year. She says everything I said about keeping it in the family was a lie, so I should sell it back to her for what I paid. I can see the manipulative BS aspect of her play here, but I think I feel pity and guilt for her, because it seems like she's finally legitimately dealing with the trauma of our parents' death, and emotionally clinging onto this house as a piece of them. I'm not giving it to her. Wife would never let me, but kind of feeling like an a-hole. Her argument for emotional attachment is null and void the minute she gleefully accepted the first check and skipped town. She can pacify her sadness with getting a therapist and making peace with the fact that she decided to squander her last vestiges of OP's beloved parents. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Chinook's World says, not the a-hole. 23 years old is definitely old enough to make sound and reasonable decisions. Even if she's grieving, you and your wife struggled for a decade, and now she wants to be compensated for partying and living her life in California and Vegas? Hell no. Sorry, but you owe her nothing. You have 3 little kids and a wife to worry about. Plus, I don't think your wife is going to take that kindly. I see marital issues in the future if you decide to coddle your sister. Miss M. Pants says, not the a-hole. I'd make an itemized list of all the expenses you've incurred because of this house. Mortgage taxes and repairs, maintenance, etc. Plus, appreciative interest on the house. She didn't give you a discount when she wanted it sold. Gator Toad says, not the a-hole. Remind her what you told her 10 years ago and that you had to take out a mortgage to buy her out. Let her know that if she wants to buy it, she's looking at a cost of $420,000. But as a discount, depending on whether or not you want to give her one or not, you could tell her she can buy it for, say, $400,000. If she decides to throw a hissy fit, tell her she chose to walk away with $130,000 10 years ago, and you're not responsible for how she spent her money. She had the opportunity to keep it and let the property increase, but chose not to, so she's now got to live with the consequences of her actions. And that the sooner she decides whether she wants to buy the property from you at the price it's now valued at, then the sooner you can decide who you'll have as a real estate agent and where you choose to buy next. I, 33 male, find myself in a difficult situation with my surrogate, Maria, 25 female, and I'm wondering if I'm the jerk in this situation. To provide some context, My husband, Roman, 37 male, and I decided to use surrogacy to have a child. We have a legal agreement in place, and Maria was compensated generously for her part in carrying our baby. Everything was going smoothly, and we were excited for our child's arrival. However, around the 8th month of pregnancy, Maria dropped a bombshell. She declared that she no longer wanted to go through with the surrogacy and expressed her desire to keep the child. This sent Roman into a fit of anger, but I managed to get him to step out, and I had a one-on-one conversation with Maria. I reminded her that she had legally signed the documents, and the baby was unequivocally ours, mine and Roman's. She began pleading with me, but I stood my ground, asserting that this child was my son and not hers. She tried to bargain, saying she no longer wanted the money, but I firmly rejected her request, emphasizing that no one had coerced her into signing those papers. Whether she liked it or not, the baby was ours. To add some financial weight to my argument, I pointed out all the money we had invested in the baby and the substantial amount she received before the pregnancy. I made it clear that if she wanted the baby, she'd have to reimburse us for all of that, something I knew she couldn't afford. I suggested that if she had any more issues, she should speak to my lawyers, but as far as I was concerned, the baby was ours, mine and Roman's, whether she liked it or not. Maria called us cruel and even got her family involved to support her case. Now I'm doubting whether I'm in the wrong here. Roman supports my stance, but some of my friends and her family are calling me the a-hole. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole in this situation? Edit. For clarification, she hasn't pursued legal action at all. This was a talk she had with us. Edit 2. We live in California, where traditional surrogacy is allowed, as well as pre-birth and after-birth agreement. We have a pre-birth agreement, and by law, the baby is ours, and she knows it. She is asking if we would give up our rights for her to have the baby, which we won't. The baby is mine and my husband's. There hasn't been pursuit of legal action. She can now only talk through my lawyers. No one knows says. Unfortunately, this is why doctors will not allow the egg donor and surrogate to be the same person. Who advised you to proceed in this manner? Due to her being the biological mother, your contract is potentially void. I would consider consulting with a family law attorney so your husband can plan to file for custody. In the future, if you decide to have more children, go with a surrogacy agency and separate egg donor so you can avoid this issue. Knights of Ren says, people can downvote me all they want. The facts remain. Traditional surrogacy is much more legally complex than gestational surrogacy because the surrogate is the biological mother of the child. In order for both intended parents to have parental rights for the child, the non-biological intended parent will likely need to complete a step-parent adoption following the baby's birth. Sea Turtle 541 says, not the a-hole. Is the child biologically hers or did you use a donor egg? The answer to that question is important. If the child is biologically hers, as well as biologically your husband's, depending on where you live, she may have a case. If she has no biological connection to the child, she shouldn't have a case. You need to speak to your attorney as soon as possible and let them know what is going on. Block her family, it's none of their business. As far as your friends who are saying you're an a-hole, they're being ridiculous. I hope you get your baby. OP says, it's biologically hers and my husband. My husband and I started dating when I was 17 and he was 20. We dated for 11 years before we got married. I met my best friend when I was 12, when she moved next door. We're still very close, and I talk to her almost daily. When I was dating my husband, there were several times I suspected something going on, and it actually caused a rift between my friend and I. They would both tell me I was being jealous or crazy, and they were just friends. She had dated his brother around the same time, and I was told my boyfriend would never mess with someone that was intimate with his brother. In my gut, I always knew or felt like something was not right. I eventually stopped speaking to her over this issue and things she had done to other friends. She did change over the years. We repaired our friendship based on those changes, and we've remained very close over the last 13 years. She's like a sister to me. We even have girls' night often, spending the night at her house or one of our other friends' homes. My husband and I have been married for 17 years, and things have been pretty good. So the other night, my husband and I are talking about things from the past, being very open about random things. He proceeds to tell me about another childhood best friend that asked him to basically hook up, along with another friend that I was close to at the time. I was shocked by this. I told him it was in the past, but I couldn't believe they did that to me. He says he didn't do anything with either of them. I then asked about the friendship in question, told him I knew about some things because she tried to tell me. He then admits they kissed. I knew there was more, so I asked her about it. I told her he confessed to hooking up with her, and she admitted to sleeping with him at random times over the course of our relationship. She said it was all prior to us getting married. I'm upset and hurt. Even though she says it was a mistake, it's hard to believe this. A mistake happens once. He says it shouldn't matter because it was before we got married, and it was a long time ago. While this is old news to him, it's new to me. I wouldn't have married him if I'd known the truth. I've been gaslighted over the years that I was being jealous or crazy when they were having S behind my back. Instead of him apologizing and feeling bad about this, he's been upset that I'm making an issue out of this, saying he's a good husband, dad, and I'm wrong for letting this be an issue in our marriage. My friend is the complete opposite, apologizing, being honest about details, asking for forgiveness, and saying she doesn't deserve it, and saying how she's always wanted to tell me, but feared losing me as a friend again. It would be one thing if it weren't my friend, but it hurts knowing they had S and kept this a secret. It hurts knowing I've been having sleepovers, sharing my life with this person. I feel like I look stupid, like I'm a big joke. Am I overreacting, or is this messed up? Grouchy Emotion 3886 says, he lied to your face for years. So did she. How can you trust a word out of either of their mouths? You were exclusive with him at the time, not married, but he still obviously had no problem lying to you about him being faithful. Your whole adult relationship with both of them has been based on lies, especially the love and trust your marriage is supposed to be based on. He crapped all over your relationship and now wants you to ignore it because he is a good husband and father. How would you ever really know that he isn't cheating? Deceiving you comes so easy to him. Mustang 1967 says, so he has cheated on you, and all of a sudden, as soon as he's married, he decides to stop cheating? I would be gone, as your whole marriage is a sham. Rub Specialist says, there are so many problems with this situation. First, that he repeatedly cheated. That he cheated with your best friend. By your words, that's not a mistake. It's a series of decisions to duck and lie, repeatedly. They gaslighted you for decades and made you doubt your sanity. He disrespected you by allowing his affair partner to come into your home and be your best friend while they shared a secret affair. Who is to say the affair ended? You're going to believe two liars? Liars and cheaters only admit to what you know, and the least they can to minimize. Now he can't even properly apologize. They took away your agency by not telling you. You would have made different life choices if you had full knowledge. That's unforgivable.